Okay, first of all, I know the history behind the WNBA. I know that both of those cities have had teams before and they got us where we're at.
Some WNBA players arrive, carry out their responsibilities, and then depart. Another is Sophie Cunningham, a woman who joined the most talked about women's basketball team, immediately began pushing people to the ground, went viral overnight, and then sat down to share all of her secrets and what it's actually like to play with the most polarizing athlete in the world. What she revealed was not only surprising, but also completely refuted the narrative that most people had previously come to accept. To understand the relevance of any of this, you have to go back to January 31st, 2025. The day that changed in a way Sophie Cunningham probably could not have predicted. For 6 seasons, she had put in a lot of effort for the Phoenix Mercury, building a solid reputation as a fearless guard who could shoot lights out. She had been dealt to the INFever. It was later learned. Not any team, mind you. More cameras, controversy, and national attention surround the INFever than any other WNBA team in history since they are home to Caitlin Clark, the most scrutinized athlete in women's sports. The trade was also historic. A massive 10-team deal stunned the league. Cunningham did not receive a gentle introduction to her new environment. What happened after she was left alone in the middle of a storm revealed every facet of who she really was.
Almost no one talks about this.
In Indiana, Cunningham had a challenging start. Due to an ankle injury she had during the preseason, her debut was delayed until May 22nd. She had another ankle injury a week later, which prevented her from playing for 2 more weeks. Playing for a new city, a new coach, a new system, and new teammates, she was battling her body and attempting to find her rhythm. During those first few weeks, she struggled. Chemistry was lacking. No momentum was present. It was greatly doubted if this trade would be successful at all. But just before the All-Star break, something clicked. Cunningham not only recovered her rhythm but also took off after being added to the starting lineup. Her average was 11. In 13 games as a starter, he scored 2 points and shot over 51% from the field. She was maybe the team's most prolific player at the time. The Fever had found its enforcer, and she was only getting started. And what happened on June 17th was the most direct reaction of the 2025 WNBA season. The entire game had been violent, and the Connecticut Sun were hosting the Fever. Sheldon stabbed Sun guard J.C. Caitlin Clark in the eye during the 3rd quarter. It was the kind of play that typically ends with a shrug and a free throw. But Sophie Cunningham did not shrug. A quarter later, she grabbed Sheldon and pulled her to the ground in front of everyone. The moment was lost as soon as they were evicted. Social media fell apart overnight. Cunningham gained hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers in a few short hours. Her TikTok following grew from 300,000 to over 1 million. 2 million. She gained notoriety outside of basketball almost immediately. When she eventually discussed it in the public, she was direct. She also admitted that she had been fined roughly $900 by the league. "I will defend my teammates. I do that." She added that she had absolutely no regrets. It was more than just a viral video. At that same time, Sophie Cunningham's entire public character was transformed. The fallout from that disagreement became even more fascinating when Cunningham revealed what she shortly revealed on her brand new podcast, Show Me Something, which she launched with her childhood friend and reality TV star Wes Wilson. She didn't think twice. She admitted something that had been the focus of gossip for months. There were real conversations about how to handle Caitlin Clark during her first season in a locker room the year before, when she was still with the Phoenix Mercury. She confirmed many people's suspicions, but nobody wanted to express them. Cunningham claims that players in the league were deliberately focusing on Clark to make a point and show her what the W actually stands for. She said she understood it to some extent. That's how rookies are treated. But in Clark's case, it had gone much too far. Cunningham remarked, "I'm like, what are people doing?" after seeing it as a team member. "It's simply too much.
I've moved on.
It's probably too much if I feel that way." Because she had actually been in those rooms, her words carried a distinct resonance. This was an admission, not a widely held belief. Cunningham's frequent disclosures on the podcast, which became a forum for music, captivated listeners. In one episode, she challenged those who questioned Caitlin Clark's impact on the league. She spoke carelessly. She didn't employ hedging. She said, "If you don't think Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA, or if you think the league wouldn't be where it is now without her, you're just plain incorrect," which is as close to what she actually said. She made it clear that she wasn't making fun of other league players. She respected everyone. But she couldn't see how Clark's contribution to the development of women's basketball was being disregarded. Furthermore, it was hard to overlook how bluntly she put it. For a league that has been involved in an ongoing, intricate internal discussion about Clark's position and reception, hearing it firsthand from an experienced insider carried a lot of weight. And the internet's reaction was exactly what you would expect. Once again, the video went viral. The moment that fundamentally altered the tone of the narrative then arrived. Apart from the fights, podcasts, and viral events, Sophie Cunningham showed a whole different side of herself. She was properly microphoned, and her remarks were recorded as she offered to serve food to local families at the yearly Aaron Nesmith charity dinner in November. "We are here to accomplish this." She turned to a crowded room and said, "We're here for you." The section that really resonated was this one. There was no contract with her. The Fever's one-year contract has already expired. She didn't have to be there. She received no payment. She just showed there, rolled up her sleeves, and started serving. Fever's fans went berserk. The video of the event went viral just as fast as the J.C. Sheldon fights. Remark after remark begged the team to sign her for life. People who had never watched a WNBA game started to pay attention. This was the other side of Sophie Cunningham, a farm girl. Then she called her a huge old dork. When you first meet someone who has so much attention following them around, you don't know what to expect, she said. You prepare. Rather, she found someone who was sincere, humble, and completely foolish. She said she was the biggest geek you'll ever meet, and that she loved Clark's whole atmosphere. For millions of people who only see Clark in the media, that description seemed to be the most human thing someone had ever said about her. Highlights, endorsement agreements, and conferences. Their off-court friendship became its own story. When asked which teammate she would least trust to handle her social media accounts, Cunningham said without hesitation, 1,000%, because Cunningham referred to Clark as a starter with affection. This implies that she would start the drama. She would watch the chaos while publishing anything. This was perfectly consistent with the way these two interact on social media. Their frequent lighthearted barbs, inside jokes, and reciprocal trolling are enjoyed by their fan communities. In August, as part of a recruitment campaign for bikini sponsors, Cunningham posted a video of himself and colleague Lexi Hall in a swimsuit, joking that they were Indiana Fever mermaids on their way to a game. Cunningham's podcast eventually learned about Clark as well. The Show Me Something account's reaction to a fan's question regarding a Clark appearance was merely prompted by the norms of these two's public contact. Beneath all of this excitement, though, was a season that went terribly wrong. The Fever had escalated into an almost unimaginable injury catastrophe by August. Caitlin Clark only played in 13 games this season due to a groin ailment, bone bruise, and quad strain. In the end, 5 players were declared out for the season, including Cunningham and Clark. At one point, the team was so understaffed that they qualified for an emergency hardship exception. Cunningham had been playing until August 17th, when Connecticut Sun guard Bree in January fell into her leg and tore her MCL. Surgery was then carried out. The season has come to an end. The lady who had fought her way into a starting position averaged over 11 points per game as a starter, and developed into one of the team's most beloved presences was gone before the playoffs even started. She watched from the bench as a fully decimated Fever team forced the eventual winner Las Vegas Aces to play 5 games in the semifinals. The perseverance of that crew was incredible, but it must have been painful for Cunningham to see everything take place without her. The events that followed the season were almost as exciting as the season itself. In a league where nothing was certain, Cunningham became an unrestricted free agent when her one-year, $100,000 contract expired. The CBA talks between the Players Association and the WNBA are at a standstill. Furthermore, neither the official start date of free agency nor the upcoming season's compensation structure were known. She signed with Project B, a brand new international 5-on-5 touring league that offered her over $2 million annually, roughly 8 times the highest WNBA salary at the time. She also began to increase her media visibility in a way that showed her capacity to think beyond basketball. The social media brand, the podcast, and the sponsorship deals, she was using her fame from only one Indiana season to launch a full-fledged public career. Throughout it all, she kept saying that she wanted to go back to the Fever. She wanted to play with Clark again. The CBA was ultimately settled in mid-March 2026. Oh, and when free agency began, her future in Indianapolis was at last within reach. By the end of 2025, the numbers showed a story that nobody could have foreseen at the start of the year. Sophie Cunningham came in at number 7 on Google's list of the most searched athletes in the US, and the company's annual search rankings fell. Caitlin Clark, who had held the same role in 2024, was not mentioned. Cunningham had taken her place, in a way. She addressed this in the same direct, non-performative way that she does almost everything when someone brought it up on her podcast. She said she didn't know what to think of it. She tried to explain Clark's absence right away by pointing out that she had only played 13 games this season, but she also mentioned how great it was to be the only female in the top 10. She wasn't boasting. She wasn't thinking about herself. She was thinking about her teammate. That answer exposed Sophie Cunningham's genuine character off-camera more than anything she said during the year. And this is how things are right now. The 2026 WNBA season is set to start on May 8th, assuming the new CBA holds together. Caitlin Clark is in excellent condition after dominating Team USA in all major statistical categories and taking home the MVP award at the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament. The Fever are preparing for what should be their strongest and healthiest roster in franchise history. And Sophie Cunningham, the woman who came to Indianapolis as a trade piece, became an enforcer, went viral, became a music fan favorite, sustained an injury, built a media empire while recovering, and never stopped speaking her truth, is awaiting word on whether she will be able to rejoin the team that transformed her life. Fans are putting constant pressure on the corporation to bring her back. Clark reportedly expressed her feelings about the matter to the front desk. As a result of the expansion draft, 2 new teams, Portland and Toronto, will join the league. The Fever's roster selections are one of the most anticipated storylines in all of women's basketball going into the new year, but one thing is guaranteed, no matter what happens next. Sophie Cunningham entered a room full with expectations, disregarded them all, and came out stronger. Without a contract or obligation, she showed up to serve meals to strangers, told the truth when no one asked, and defended her teammate when no one else would. It's not a brand. That's a person. And that's the exact reason why viewers can't stop watching. Some WNBA players arrive, carry out their responsibilities, and then depart. Then there is Sophie Cunningham, a woman who joined the most talked-about women's basketball team, immediately began throwing people to the ground, went viral overnight, and then sat down to share all the secrets she had been keeping to herself about what it's actually like to play with the most.